So we're at day 20 of the shutdown. Democrats think this is going to be a really good thing for their party.
Wrong.
Not according to CNN. I want to give you this Harry Enton poll, who's talking about how this thing broke down. This is clip 6.
In 2018/2019, Donald Trump's net approval rating was already falling. The shutdown was eating into his popular support. It was down 3 points already at this particular point and would fall considerably more. It was very much on the decline. You come over to this side of the screen, this shutdown hasn't eaten into Donald Trump's support at all. His net approval rating is actually up a point in terms of his popular support. So the bottom line is this. The first shutdown during Trump's first term, 2018-2019, was hurting Donald Trump. This one is not hurting him at all. There's no real reason Donald Trump might say, at least when it comes to popular support, I want to get out of this shutdown.
Hot damn. And I'll tell you why before I play the second clip. People are better informed, a lot more well-informed in Trump 2 than they were in Trump 1. In Trump 1, the narrative was completely and entirely controlled by the mainstream media.
The media is a bunch of losers.
In Trump 2, everybody knows that drop I just played you is true. And they realize the Democrats have the whole country in a hostage situation. The Democrats are telling you this is because of health care. What they're not mentioning, aside from John Fetterman, is that they were the ones who injected the Obamacare subsidies and stipulated that they would expire this year. So they didn't expire because of Republicans. They expired because the Democrat stipulation when they implemented them in 2021 is that they would expire in 2025. So again, the Democrats giving you this lecture about health care becoming too expensive is no different than Bill Cosby giving you a lecture about the drinks being too strong.
What the hell did you just say?
I'm saying in both cases, it's the bartender's fault and not the customer. But here's Harry Enton speaking to that reality, clip 7.
It comes down to the blame game, a game I loved to play when I was younger. Blame Trump for the shutdown a great deal. In 2018/2019, 61%, more than 3 in 5 Americans, blame Trump a great deal for that particular shutdown. You come over to this side of the screen, look at this. It's a different world. It's a different world. 48% of Americans blame Trump a great deal for this particular shutdown. So it's more than 3 in 5 back in 2018/2019. It's less than half, a drop of 13 points. Again, it's no real wonder that Donald Trump at this point, looking at the shutdown, says, you know what, it's not actually harming me politically, in large part because he's getting less of the blame.
So essentially, Trump's shouldering less blame. People are looking at the Democrats and the No Kings marches.
That was embarrassing.
Be nice. A lot of the people at the No Kings rally were alive the last time we had an actual king in this country.
That's true. That is true.
There were some people there in their late hundreds. It was sad. No kings. Could have been called no blacks. It was all old white people. Just kind of reliving the 70s and the 60s. They weren't there protesting a legitimate thing. We don't have a king. We didn't have a king at the beginning of the day. We didn't have a king at the end of the day. You get it? It's pretend. And people have kind of caught on to the scam. Even Charlamagne the God over on iHeart here in New York, Power 105. I am, of course, on WOR, and I run into him from time to time over there at their studios. Here is Charlamagne telling you the truth that the Democrats and their shutdown messaging is awful. Clip 3.
I read a poll this morning that said, a lot of Americans are starting to blame Democrats for the government shutdown. And it's just simply because Republicans are better at messaging than Democrats will ever be. I can't believe Democrats still haven't figured out how to message. But right now, at a time when American people are hurting and they can point directly to the Trump administration and say, earlier in the year, it was Doge cutting all the federal jobs. Now they are in charge of every branch of government, and it's a government shutdown, and all of y'all are losing jobs. The fact that they can't message that it's the Republicans that are hurting their pockets right now and people still think it's the Democrats, it's insane.
But what Charlamagne doesn't get, and I say this with respect, is the Democrats could say Republicans are the one costing them jobs, but nobody will believe them.
He knows what he's talking about.
Okay, Charlamagne clearly consumes politics through a narrow lens. And what I mean by that is he's talking to people on both sides of the aisle, but every time I hear him express an opinion on one of these issues, it feels like it's missing like 33% of the story. meaning nobody is losing jobs because Republicans shut down the government. There is a threshold of 60 votes in place that Republicans don't have in the Senate. So without additional Democrat votes, Republicans couldn't keep the government open.
Bingo.
So you can say they control all three things, but they don't control them by a wide enough margin to actually clear the 60 vote threshold. They don't have that many senators. That's the point. So the people on the Democratic side of the aisle who know what they're doing is wrong are also following the lead of Chuck Schumer, who knows what he's doing is wrong.
Chuck Schumer is a clown.
Big time, okay? But he and Nancy Pelosi, for better or for worse, are the party leaders. They are scared, absolutely horrified of the young radical wing of the party. So not even Nancy Pelosi, somebody who was out here a year ago saying you can't ever shut the government down. We don't shut the government down. How can you do that to people? You don't shut the government down. What is she saying now? Screw it. We're shutting it down.
Nancy Pelosi is a total dingbat.
And it's why people don't take them seriously. And when you see the messaging change, Ro Khanna, there's this other narrative out of the Democrat Party. It went from health care, which they're responsible for. They passed the health care bill. The Affordable Care Act is what sent premiums up 80%. They got so expensive that in 2021, the Biden administration used COVID relief as a way of shoehorning in $1.5 trillion in subsidies for Obamacare to keep the prices in check.
That is financial lunacy.
And I say that why? Because yes, the costs are out of control, but when the government subsidizes cost, that gives the healthcare companies free rein to charge you whatever the hell they want. If you really wanted to help people get more affordable health care, and believe me, I have a lot of consideration for the people who benefit from those government subsidies. Okay, I didn't have health care when my kid was born. He did. And then we got Obamacare and our premium went to the moon and Jenny had to get her appendix out. So we actually dropped our health care because it was cheaper than paying our deductible under Obamacare.
I don't see you doing any better in the booty department.
So I have been on the absolute front line of this battle. And I'm telling you this because I care. The Democrats passed Obamacare knowing that they were limiting the competition in the marketplace by getting the government involved. This was part of a grand scheme to get us to single payer, to have government control everything to do with health care.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Straight up, because the reason the government shut down is because of what they did to health care. Okay, the subsidies that they said would expire this year expired, and now they're blaming Republicans, and they're saying Donald Trump is a king. They're also claiming this has something to do with Epstein, the Epstein list. When you want to talk about controlling the House, the Senate, and the White House, the Democrats did that for 4 years under Joe Biden.
I don't remember that ever happening.
But it did. And did the Democrats do anything related to Epstein, ask to see the files?
The answer would be no.
The answer would be no. Trump is not in the Epstein files. They know that. And if he was, they would have put him out when they had the power to do so. You guys, straight up. They indicted him 91 times. We had never indicted a president once. Are you going to tell me if they had the goods on this guy, they wouldn't have dumped it on us? They've leaked Supreme Court decisions that they thought would help them in the midterms. Are you going to tell me they wouldn't leak Epstein dirt if they had it? The guy got shot in the ear. They found another sniper on his golf course, and we just found a frickin' hunting stand across the street from where he boards the plane in Florida.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
The point is, if anything I'm about to play you from Ro Khanna was true, you would have known the whole story right by now. But here we go. We went from no health care to no kings to protecting democracy to the Epstein client list. Ro Khanna, take it away. Clip 4.
There's the broader issue of the shutdown, and then there's federal workers not getting paid. And the only reason federal workers aren't getting paid is because Speaker Johnson doesn't want to vote on the Epstein files.
Hold on. Can you help me understand what you're arguing? You're suddenly going to get part of the government funded if he just comes back and votes on the Epstein files?
I said that yesterday. Yeah, if he swears in Adelita Grijalva, then we would have 218 votes. He just needs to have Congress be in session. He's not having us in session for the past month, even though the Senate has been in session, because he doesn't want to swear in Adelita Grijalva. If Adelita Grijalva gets sworn in, Massey and I have 218 signatures, along with every Democrat and Nancy Mace, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert. 7 days later, we have a vote on the Epstein file. He doesn't want that.
Oh, man.
He is so full of shit. this guy.
Is he ever? So now it's Epstein votes. There's more to this. I'm not even kidding. I'm going to give you a little more of this. Clip 5.
How did the troops and the federal workers get paid because of a vote on the Epstein files?
Because every Democrat would support a straight, clean bill to pay our troops and pay our federal workers. And in the other shutdowns I've been in, usually you have Congress vote to say, okay, we're going to pay our troops and we're going to pay essential workers. We haven't had that vote because Congress is shut down. And so I think that this distinction isn't understood. Yes, government would still be shut down, but people would be getting paid who are going to work if we could just have that vote. We haven't had that vote because Congress has been shut down.
Oh, come on, dude.
You were lying your ass off.
So let me be clear. He's saying if you're a troop, if you're a federal air traffic controller, you don't get paid right now. He's fine with you not getting paid. But if you gave him the Epstein files, which is something the Democrats have just controlled for the last 4 years and had no interest in opening, then we could suddenly put your priority ahead of everybody else's. This is actually why people hate politicians. This is why Trump isn't being heard in the polls for the shutdown, because every single person who's paying some attention sees the Democrats haven't had the same message 2 days in a row. So if you can't take the message serious, you're not going to take them serious.
And I'm out here in the real world, and I know what's right or wrong or bullshit.
There it is, Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon. So fired up to talk to this next guest. She is a superstar, a New York Post writer, podcast host of Podforce One, the author of Laptop from Hell, a new smash hit series all over Fox Nation entitled Cocaine at 1600. We are talking about the unstoppable Miranda Devine. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you, Jimmy? Good to talk to you.
You know how fired up I am to talk to you. Every time we cross paths, it's a win for the American people, and I dare I say citizens in other nations as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We're saving the West here.
Here we go. So give me this, because I have a theory. I watched the trailers for your new documentary about the cocaine at the White House, and I feel like America might owe an apology to the White House dog commander. Because if there's if you'd be fired up and yapping at people too if there was cocaine and you had a dog nose, no?
100%. I actually had not thought about that. But if you think about the psychic damage to poor old Commander, who is all about law and order, those German Shepherds, they're wonderful dogs.
Yes.
And it was obviously miserable because it's being kept in a house of chaos and corruption and all sorts of nefarious activities. So poor old Commander, no wonder he had to leave.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, Commander deserves an auto pen pardon, does he not?
Well, he may have gone to the big kennel in the sky because remember, he got banished after biting all those Secret Services. He was probably trying to tell the agents, look, I have discovered a crime here and you're not listening to me. And he was just nipping at them to try and point them in the right direction. However, under Joe Biden, the Secret Service just turned a blind eye to a lot. And we know they turned a blind eye to this little baggie of cocaine that was discovered on the July 4th weekend in 2023.
Yeah. And it's so fascinating. We're talking to the great Miranda Devine, the new documentary, Cocaine at 1600. It's on Fox Nation. It's so fascinating that the media got mad if Donald Trump had a Diet Coke in the Oval Office. These guys brought the real stuff. But let me ask you about this. In my basic takeaway, where this cocaine was found, and I do believe the description of where it was found changed, did it not?
It did, and that's one of the very weird things about the story that we were told. We were told a lot of lies by Karine Jean-Pierre standing up there at the White House podium and assuring us that the entire family had not been anywhere near the vicinity. They'd gone away for the weekend, etc. When we knew and we saw Marine One take off after 6 p.m. with Hunter on board, so we knew that they were there all Friday. We knew that Hunter was pretty much living there at that time, and look, maybe it wasn't Hunter. He says it wasn't him. But, you know, it's not really fair for the Secret Service to have covered up who the real culprit was when all fingers are pointing at Hunter, because there is no more famous cokehead than Hunter Biden who's ever lived in the White House as far as we know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's fascinating because when you really think about it, the Bidens were everything that they told us the Trumps were. meaning a lot of shady business deals, drugs, all kinds of weird Jerry Springer stuff happening in the family. There's a lot of projection there. But is it your opinion then that the Secret Service did knowingly mislead us, or was there a protocol thing? Because I believe they tried to sell it to us as like, well, this is official standard operating procedure. But to me, it reads like a direct cover-up, correct?
I mean, they couldn't do anything but do a clumsy cover-up because, everyone's suspicions were raised. Everyone kind of had an idea of who they thought it might be, or a couple of people. And then they were telling us, well, look, there's no fingerprints and there's no DNA. That is unbelievable. I remember speaking to the late, great Bernie Kerrick, the former NYPD commissioner at the time, and he just said, as Donald Trump said, this does not pass the sniff test. And none of it made sense. It was, they said, oh, it just happened to be found in this little cubbyhole where you stick your cell phones when you're going into the White House, and it was just centered right perfectly, and the little cubbyhole door wasn't locked, and that's just the one place in the White House when it's a blind spot for cameras. Hello. Yeah. And then they completed the investigation in 11 days, unheard of. They then destroyed the evidence, unheard of, to the point where the Secret Service forensic guy who was asked to destroy the baggie refused to do it. So they had to give it to the DC police to destroy. And then I think the biggest smoking gun of all comes from the great Susan Crabtree from Real Clear Politics, who has the best Secret Service sources. And she says that they actually did find trace DNA, and they sent it through to the National, Crime Lab, and there was a match with somebody who's in the White House with some on the criminal database.
What?
Now, a partial match, not a full match.
Okay.
But that is pretty interesting. And now that Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have decided to investigate this at the FBI, I'm sure that they know all about it and will let us know as soon as they can.
I love that. We're talking to Miranda Devine, if you're on the radio side of this right now. That is heavy. The only person they probably ruled out was Joe Biden himself, based on his energy, right?
Yeah, I guess that's the case, although he was certainly on something. maybe he's so far gone that if he was taking cocaine, it wouldn't even show up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it didn't work at the debate if they gave it to him. But if you remember, do you remember 2 years ago, there was that one State of the Union where he screamed at us for an hour and a half straight out of nowhere? So who even knows? But all I keep thinking about is like, what an about face the world is going through. The last administration had cocaine in the White House. This one is literally blowing up cocaine boats on the way to America. So
that's so true.
Yeah, at the very least,
so true.
We're getting our priorities straight. So give me one more while I still have you here, and then we'll let you get on your way. You covered this White House. You covered the Hunter Biden laptop. Have you seen Karine Jean-Pierre making the media rounds in an effort to kind of rehabilitate Biden's image one more time?
I know. It's pathetic, honestly. It's just so boring. It's just the excerpts I've read, do not make me want to rush out and buy the book. It's totally self-serving.
Yeah, well, let me remind you, winter is coming and we do need firewood. I think they're marketing it wrong. They should market it as affordable firewood and they might have a good shot. But
yeah, then the greenies would be after them.
So true. You know what this fire is made out of. Well, the special, it is on Fox Nation. It is available now. It is called Cocaine at 1600. I consider this a must-watch, Miranda. The next time I run into you, I will have follow-up questions. So don't pull a Katie Porter and turn down the follow-ups.
No, excellent. No Katie Porter's here.
You're the best. We'll see you on Fox Nation, okay?
Thanks, Jimmy.
Take care. The great Miranda Devine, around for her all day long. Miranda Devine. There it is, Fox Across America with Jimmy Fallon. Trying to restore order. This one went off the rails a little bit. We were just taking calls about the moon landing being fake. Shout out to Paul in Long Beach, who kind of got us back on track, but all of his progress was for naught, because joining me now is another moon truther. I kid. He's the host of the big money show on the Fox Business Network. Brian Brenberg is here.
I have been to the moon, okay? Let's be clear about that. I built my own spaceship. I went there. All the rest of it is fake, but I have been to the moon.
Do you remember when the Flat Earth Society was making a run and that guy had built what looked like an Acme rocket? And like the plan was he was going to shoot himself up in the air to see if there was a curvature of the earth and all of that jazz. We're really having a good time.
Bring that back. Let's bring that back.
Get those people
back. Because I'm
back
not convinced. I think it could just be one big flat thing.
Well, it's funny because I was talking about this, and then we can transition into something for the need of our FCC license and all of our sponsors. Let's get into something else. But I was playing a clip earlier of Stephen A. Smith, and he was talking about how Kyrie Irving turned out to be right about all the vaccine stuff. Okay. You know, remember he wouldn't get the vaccine, blah, 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 blah. And I go, what does it say about trust in public health that Kyrie Irving, who was a charter member of the Flat Earth Society, turned out to be right about COVID? That's a bad sign.
Hey, you win some, you lose some.
I guess. But you're not supposed to lose the science.
It was a theory.
You're not supposed to lose the science competitions to Flat Earth guy, is what I'm saying. Which brings me back to the moon real quick, and we'll move on. Sean Duffy, our esteemed colleague here at Fox. We love Sean Duffy. I was playing a clip earlier. He's like, hey, we're in a space race with China, and we're going to beat them back to the moon. But if we've already been there, I was concerned that we should already know how to get back there. But apparently somebody threw out the napkin the directions were on, or the coordinates in MapQuest. I don't know the answer
There's
here.
There's a little spring cleaning happening in the Biden administration. And, you know, I don't know. They had it labeled. One was labeled moon landing. The other was labeled moon pie. They threw out the one, but they mixed them up.
And there it went. Now we can't go back. Now I understand. It's a lot of money. It's old technology that couldn't be integrated into new technology. They scrapped the program. There were new administrations. As Paul was explaining, there were different priorities. Okay. And obviously, it is actually possible that at the glacial pace at which the government moves, that's something we were capable of doing back then. The infrastructure doesn't currently exist. Like, I concede all of that.
Okay. All right.
Where my antennas go up is when people give me these dismissive reasons why it has to be real. Okay. Can I give you some?
Okay.
Now, to be clear, we all believe we landed on the moon. Okay, so we're just entertaining ourselves. But when people give me the old 2,000 or 200,000 people worked on the program, are you telling me all 200,000 people kept a secret? I'm like, they wouldn't have to know. Like, in theory, if this was made up, 5 people need to know. 4 guys in the space capsule, 1 guy in Houston chain smoking cigarettes convincingly. Am I correct? I mean, technically speaking.
Because everyone's got a little piece of partial knowledge about what's happening. They're doing their job. They think we're just having fun here.
Yeah, of course we are.
They're doing their job.
Yeah, so I don't listen. So this is, whenever I hear something like that, it allows me to entertain these things. Why? Not because I believe them, but because the government shut down. And if they're not taking their job seriously, damn it, I don't have to take mine seriously. Yeah, I could be a responsible broadcaster right now, and to some extent I have. I'll even take some calls, okay? One of the things that you might be well-versed in as the host of a business TV show is the fact that the White House is being renovated. They're telling us it's quite expensive. But
the ballroom. This is the ballroom.
Yes. I played a clip earlier of Morning Joe saying, the wrecking ball to history. And this is an affront to all Americans. But Joe is standing by in Hopatcong, New Jersey. I believe it's Hopatcong. Did I get that right, Mikey?
Sounds right.
Hopatcong, New Jersey. And he's got a little morsel for you about White House renovations.
Let's hear it.
Joe, my man.
Hey, Jimmy. Great to talk to you.
Amen.
First-time caller.
Oh,
I want to tell you, the show's been great. Been listening to it all afternoon.
Get out of even. You stuck with it through the moon landing thing?
I did, but I have nothing to add to
that. Good one.
He's not even using his real name on the call just in case.
Joe,
I love that for you. Okay, so what do we need to know about this redux or the renovation?
I found it very interesting, the discussion we were having about the White House and the gutting and what's happened in the past and what's going on now with the current administration. But the one big person or the big Democratic president you did not mention that actually gutted the entire White House was Harry Truman from 1948 to 1952. He gutted the entire White House and redid it.
Wow. Now, can I tell you something, Joe? If you ever wind up on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire or like Hollywood Squares, you want to use Brian Brenberg as a lifeline, because the minute you said Democrat president, he looked at me and he said Truman. How about that?
true.
But so I didn't know that. So hold on. Let me just,
I love Brian. Brian's another one I love listening to all the time.
Joe, you're the best.
All right. Well, just watered down the praise I got. It sounded so credible. It's like if I walked up to a girl and I said, "You're really hot. You and Katie Porter, just do it for me." Something about you and Joy Behar. It's like you were separated at birth. I'm kidding, Joe. I'm kidding. But so give me this. The point being is there is a precedent for this. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt kind of built what we know to be the West Wing.
That's right.
FDR renovated it. Truman came along, and what you were saying, Joe, is this was the most extensive renovation?
Yes, I believe it is the most extensive renovation.
They literally took
pretty much the entire White House.
Yeah.
They took
it was
everything.
It was falling apart.
Okay. And that's funny. And Brenberg said they took everything out?
Everything was out. You could when you'd walk in there, it would be like a cavern of the walls of the exterior walls of the White House, and that was it.
Is that true?
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
Was nuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
That's true.
That's crazy to me because the last administration only took out the cocaine. They left everything else. They took out a baggie full of cocaine and left the rest of it.
That could have been Truman's cocaine. I don't know. Like maybe it was there from the renovation.
Truman had some late nights with the bomb and everything. It was his booger sugar, Joe. Who knew? This is why we have a guy on from Hopatcong. He's got the intel. So would you say, Joe, not to cast aspersions on your fellow Joes, but Mr. Scarborough might be full of it with all of the outrage about redoing the White House?
Well, he usually is. But, I would say he's off target on this one.
Amen.
Very much so.
And here's the point, and you know this, and we'll let you go after this because you've done a stellar job. We want you to go out on top. Yeah. Hardest thing to do in showbiz, Joe, is quit while you're ahead. I just haven't had an opportunity to get ahead yet, so I got to keep going. But stick with me.
I just had to add one more thing, though.
All right, what do you got?
I do have some advice to offer you.
Give it to me.
Please stop corrupting my innocent, honest, and clean-living nephew.
Is Mikey your nephew?
Mikey is my nephew.
Well, the fact that you admitted that in public is, you should have said you believed the moon landing was fake and just hung up. I mean, Joe, your name is destroyed. Great call, though. You were this close, but you too tackled at the one.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
Mikey, payola, getting family members
a ringer on that one. Wow.
And to be clear, I want something to be said before we go any further. We have calls to take. We have not corrupted Mikey. These were the factory settings when we got this thing back from the Apple Store. Okay? There is nothing I've witnessed Mikey doing that he was taught by me. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing like that, Mikey. And I think there's about 1,000 people up at a place called the Spanked Puppy in Vermont who can testify that I had nothing to do. Because those Vermonters, who loved Mikey, by the way, they brought me and Mikey up there to do like a live event. They served us to the point that we should have been wearing togas. And then them being local radio guys, it being Vermont, they're like, you got to ride my motorcycle. Try my motorcycle. I'm like, I'm not riding your motorcycle. I'm seeing 3 motorcycles right now. There's only one. I'm not getting on it. And they're like, come on. And
ride
Lord
the
knows,
one in the middle.
Yeah, Lord knows what they did to poor Mikey, but to his credit, at least he rode the motorcycle. I'm kidding. Mikey, I love that. I love that you have defenders now.
I didn't even know he was calling.
That's for the best.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I love that. I think it was great. I think he gave his...
I'm just going to say I'm glad you didn't bring up the dollhouse. That's all.
The dollhouse in Fort Lauderdale. Hold on. One more financial question since we got here. Taylor is out in Sheridan, Wyoming, probably listening on KRO8. And Taylor, you have a take on Trump and meat prices, and I just think this is apropos because Brenberg's here. How you doing, Taylor?
Good. How are you doing?
It's under control. This show kind of went off the rails an hour and a half ago, and rather than trying to get it back on, we've just learned to live in the ditch. And we're having a nice time, actually.
It's a nice ditch.
But
well, that works because that's where I am all the time is in the ditch.
Oh, is that true? What do you do, brother?
Well, I'm a 6th-generation rancher, and nice. I also own a small meat processing plant.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Very impressive. So you to be clear, have some skin in the game when it comes to this Trump meat price thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I do, very much so. And so since 1980, there's been major consolidation that has occurred in the meat processing industry, and now there is only 4 big meat packers that do over 80% of the processing in the United States. So one of the reasons we saw the supply chain issues in COVID was because of these big 4. Now, Two of these big four are predominantly Brazilian owned, and the third is the largest importer of Argentinian beef. So you can bet that they are pushing for this import of Argentinian beef. But the fact of the matter is that ranchers, on the other hand, since 1970, for every dollar that our costs have gone up, we've only had our revenue go up 30 cents.
Wow.
And so ranchers are the price takers. We have no ability to be able to hold inventory or anything like that. We have to take whatever the market is able to yield. We have nobody to pass the dollar on to or anything.
So what makes it, Taylor, what makes it so hard to open a processing, like a processing plant in the U.S. that would take U.S. beef or process U.S. cattle? Like, is there regulations? Is that the barrier? What's the barrier?
Well, there's definitely a regulation side of things. So our small plant is USDA inspected, but the big thing is that you have to be able to compete in one of two areas. Either one, you need to be able to have a niche market like you would with a farm-to-table beef business. We do that as well. We have our own little side business that's a straight-to-consumer, or you have to be able to scale to the point to be able to compete with the big four, and you're talking so many billions of dollars in order to compete at that level, then nobody has the means to be able to do so.
Wow. So that's heavy. So you're telling me to get on the phone and make some phone calls?
Yeah, absolutely, because the agriculture is the backbone of this country.
Amen.
I mean, we've got less than 1% of the population that is feeding everybody else, and it's one of those that if we start importing Argentinian beef on a larger scale than we already are, all it's going to do is impact ranchers. I mean, the 2017 Wyoming census put Wyoming ranchers operating on a 2% margin.
Wow.
Who gets into a business that operates on a 2% margin? To give you an idea, at that point in time, that means we were putting $16 a head in our pocket. How many cattle do you need just to put food on your own table?
Yeah, that is crazy. I think there's a compromise here. We should be importing Argentinian women. That's the note Mikey just passed me. So I'm going to try to go make a few deals with the people we know at the White House. Taylor, thank you for schooling us on this, because this is an important issue that doesn't get enough attention. So anytime you think there's a development worth, blasting out over these airwaves, just call back in, okay, brother?
I appreciate it very much.
We appreciate you, Taylor. You have a great day, my man. That's Taylor, and what he was basically saying is we faked the moon landing. I'm kidding. Stop it.